Hello, hello. Welcome back. Or if you're new, welcome for the first time. Anyways, Gemini, Google's Gemini, they just released a deep search agent API. I've used Perplexity's API in the past. It's not, it's not as good as the deep search agents you have access to on the web interface, but it's clutch for scenarios where you want to API deep research. So I figured I wanted to go through the process of looking at it and setting it up for a quick test and comparing it to Perplexity. I thought that'd be a fun exercise. Let's see. Okay, so let's read quickly about this. So it's autonomous, deep research, multi-step agent meant for research. It's powered by Gemini 3 Pro. Let's see, it's iterative, searching, reading, and it takes several minutes to complete. You must use background execution. Run it. Now, I'm not worried about the technical details. I'm going to lean on Claude Code, whichever agentic coding platform you use. You could do the same thing. But I'm just going to look over real quick what it could do. It could do research with your own data. You could include your own files as part of the research. It's very, very cool, right? Because you might have some research already from some other APIs or something. It could feed as part of its research, which is very cool. I like that a lot. You could steer the output. You can make structured reports. Here's an example right here. Okay. And it's talking about handling, like we said earlier. What happens if you get disconnected? Okay, so it's a big old technical, there's all the documentation here. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to make sure I have this page, and I'm going to find Perplexity's deep research page, which I did in advance. Save us time here. That's the page right here. I'll share the links, of course. And then you want to grab API keys. So you log into your Perplexity account. You would go into your API. Down here is my account. Well, there's one of my accounts. This is the one with API. So I'll go to API right here. And then make sure you set up billing if you haven't yet. At $28. Then you'll grab a key, right? You grab a key with this. Pick whichever one. Then I'm going to do the same thing also with Google's. In this case, I have a key on AI Studio.google.com, API/API keys. Let me show you how I got here. Pretty simple. From the homepage right here, I would just go to get API key down here. And there you'll find it here, and you copy that one too. All right, then I would open up a new project within my Agenta coder. In this case, I'm going to be using Claude Code. All right, and I started it up. I always like to start a docs folder, as you see right here. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and start with 2 documents. Actually, I'm going to have Claude Code do it for me. What is what I'm going to do? I'm going to go over to the documentation page, and I'm going to go start with Perplexities, grab the link. And you could do it this way, or you could just have it, paste the information. But what I'm going to do, please grab all the details for Perplexity's deep research API and save the findings into doc folder. Here is the link. Paste that puppy right there. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing for Google. So please, here, I'll give myself some typing. Please grab all details for Google Gemini Gemini's new deep research API and save. This is what I do. Here's the link. I have to fix this link though. It's the wrong link. We'll grab that here. I'll make Claude Code do the work, the heavy lifting for it. We don't want that tag right there. Go to the home link. Go right here, back to Claude Code, paste the link. Okay, finished setting up our documentation for Perplexity in the docs folder. Okay, so I'm going to do preview mode for this file so we can view it nicer. Make it a little bit more not using it anyways. So right now it's a markdown. So we do Control Shift V, and boom, look at that. There's our documentation locally set up. Claude Code, in this case, did the hard work for us. Grabbed all the details. You see it's, all the details. It went overboard as usual. All right. And then I sent the other search, same type search with the link to Google. Look at that document. Here's Google Gemini. So here we go. Control Shift V. You take a look at that. And again, boom. Nice, right? Awesome. Now I'm going to grab those API keys real quick, and I'm going to save them right here. So I'll show you what I'll do. I'll go ahead and put in here, I'll do a new file. .env is short for environment. This is a secure file. You should not let anybody ever see this. You should never say this to a repo. But yeah, .env file, and I'm going to have again, Claude Code fix these variables. So I'm going to say Perplexity API equals, I'll paste it there, and I'll put Gemini API equals about that standard thing. All right, and then I'll save that. And I'll paste the values here. 1 second, I can't share that with you though. Okie dokie. We've saved that in here. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to say, please create a .env.example and also fix the variable names in .env. There you go. Let's do that. I'm going to give you guys a better prompt here. Please create this, but I'm going to add the proper variable names can be found in docs documentation. We want to look in here, right? Then we run that. Okay, now finish the task. Okay, creates the example file for you. Right, and then the env file should have these values in them. Okay, and the next step is quite simple. I want to test the APIs with the query. So let me grab a query first. I think I did grab something here. It's just a made up query. We're just gonna, okay. Please use the .env file and documentation and docs to run 2 deep researches, 1 for each of Google, Gemini, research API, and for Perplexity. Use this query. Paste that. There's a query. Run that. And what it'll likely do is it'll write a Python script. All right. So in this case, that's what it did. Took the query up here. Here's a query. Grabbing the keys from the env file. All right. It's calling, here's a Perplexity API call. Go to deep research, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And it looks like it's using the documentation to write the Python code, which is really good. Now here's a Google right here. Here's the Gemini research right here. Again, it's going to use the proper Python code here as the example that's on the documentation page. And it'll take at least a couple minutes to run these searches. So we'll return here in a second. Okie dokie, we got a result back here. Here's the Gemini report. Looks like it's shorter at 156 lines. Control Shift V. Let's take a look at it, how it looks. Okay, here's the preview. Control Shift V is a preview. Go here. Looks very nice. I'm not going to read this right now, but made nice tables. Okay, that's good. Looks good. I'll do comparison here too in a second, and more deep comparison. Now let's look at Perplexity's Control Shift V. Yeah, take a look at this puppy. Okay, it's showing the this is like its think right here, I believe. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, this is a think. That's what's going on there. Okay, but anyways, let's see. This is its process. Okay, and this is the actual result starts right here. Okay, there's no tables. Depending on what your preference is, it's a lot. Obviously, it's a lot more wordy. You can see, very wordy. Oh, there's a table. Look at that. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna have Claude make a decision. Hey, compare these two, pick a winner type of deal. So hold for 1 second here. Okay, just wrote a quick prompt, ultra think. The context is the question, the original question, right? It's the original question here. Then compare the outputs between these two research reports that we made. I just said determine your own metrics for best and pick the best. We'll run that. And we have the results. I am not going to make you torture you with how Claude Code decided to evaluate, but the winner is Perplexity with 8.55 out of 10. Gemini got 6.95 out of 10. Perplexity is the better port for this research task because the primary source density, 90 citations with verifiable URL versus obfuscated redirects, enforcement action coverage, conflict analysis, legal depth, 90-day coverage. Okay. However, Gemini would win for executive briefings, faster to read, quick reference table lookups, situation where a 5-minute read is required. Special note here, the unresolved digital omnibus date conflict appears in both reports. Neither addresses this discrepancy, which would be a gap in either report for rigorous legal research. It'd be nice to get the research back, have an agent evaluate it for gaps, and then if it has gaps, do another either deep research or short search, to spiff it up, let's say. Okay, and then I asked for price comparison, and it says right here. So let's get so Gemini wins on the price, but they said the price is going to be going up after January. So Perplexity would win in that case. Okay. All right, so right now, Perplexity seems to be a better API according to Claude Code and according to this query that we used. But it's interesting results. I will make this stuff available to everyone, and take care.
Hello. Thanks for joining us. To show your support, please like, share, subscribe, comment. And below we have a link to our free AI community. In addition, we're available for hire. If you want to develop a custom app or an AI automation, reach out.